Ooh. Yo, what's happening? It's your girl Arielle in London. I had some things to say. I wanted to record them before I left, but I was like, you know what? I'll just record them when I go up. The greenery is kind of a nice, different scenery, and it's nice to be in nature. I love it. I'm a little addicted. I've always loved nature. My friends who traveled with me to Switzerland to go to Geneva, the UN headquarters in Geneva for basically like that day of human rights fun, which was like the equivalent of like very important meetings, but like lots of fun for someone like me. They can attest to the fact that I like hugging trees. Switzerland has great trees. António Guterres, you should go and hug a tree or two. Anyways, I also enjoy throwing sticks. So I like throwing things. I used to play softball quite up until like I haven't played a proper game of softball probably since like 13, 14 years ago. Like I've been to the batting cages, but I haven't played, full game of softball, which I really like. I'm the third baseman, and I enjoy it. I always have. My first softball team I was on was an all-boys team. I was like 10 or... No, I was younger than 10. Sorry, that's when I moved. I was very young. I might have been like 6 and or 7 or around there. Around 7, let's say, to be safe. Anyways, so I loved softball. I loved sports so much that I was put on a all-boys softball team with one other girl. And she... I didn't really become close with her. We were just really there to play the game, right? It was a lot of fun. I think we won a trophy that year, actually. Anyways, I'm a really strong softball player. I love hitting home runs. I have broken a softball before. My friends at Strathcona, and my PE teacher can attest to that. On my very last day of school at Strath, I hit the ball out of the park, like literally, like I hit a home run. It might have even gone to like close to the ravine. And then, I was about to say her name, but my teacher came up to me. She's like, "You broke it." I'm like, what do you mean? It was like, I didn't break the leather, but I broke the ball itself. I guess that's how I felt about being moved back out east, and the circumstances I was moving back out east under, and leaving my friends, including Daniel. But I was not happy about it. So it was my last day. She told me I could keep the ball, and sometime in the last decade or so, I lost it along the way. It's a lot of my belongings. Anyways, I'm recording this video, and I'm glad I'm actually recording it here because I was on my way up here, and I just started thinking about global warming, right? Like, I was thinking about because I really like nature. Like, I love animals, domesticated and otherwise. I love trees. It's a great tree I got for y'all. I love everything about it. I love the leaves. I love the way that when they turn. I love air. I love good air. Out west smells better than out east. We all should know that. It is way more polluted out here than out west in Canada. That's for damn sure. But anyways, a lot is going on politically. I am very outspoken. I have always been outspoken. I have trained to be even better and more skilled at being outspoken. I spent a lot of my own money on that training. That training is continuous. It did not end with academia. Goodwill hunting. Matt Damon makes a very good point. You spend $150,000 on debt, for an education that you could have spent for $1.50 in late charges at the public library, right? He has a very good point. So to anybody who's discouraged because, they don't have enough money for school or perceived access to that money, because there's tons of scholarships and funding out there. But anybody who's discouraged about that, just remember, Google's a great resource. People diss Wikipedia, but, why? I just spent, a good 20 minutes straight reading about António Guterres on Wikipedia, and I actually really like encyclopedias, always have. Britannica used to be my favorite, and then it went online. When Britannica online, and I got those CDs when I was a kid, fuck the internet at that point. I was indexing. I've been indexing for a long time. It's actually supposedly a problem at one point during my childhood, because I had such tunnel vision about genocide when I was 8-ish or 9-ish. I was going to the library, and back in my day, still my day, it will forever be my day. Anyways, back in the day, you would go into the library and you would index, literally, a Rolodex when you go into an office. I'm talking Gen X and Gen Z and all the youngins right now, but Even some millennials probably don't know this shit because they probably weren't interested in the library. Anyways, you index, and then you go to the library, you know, you open it up, and then you look in the thing. It's got a card. You write your name. It's not computerized necessarily like it is today, although some libraries are still, they do still look like that. Anyways, this video is for Antonio Guterres. What's up? I realized I don't think I have, you know, put up messages over the years to the UN, right? Like people have definitely seen me contact the UN over Twitter, tag them in a post if there's like a picture of me on the premises or something like that, you know, things like that. But I haven't done that much as of late. I think that the Mar-a-Lago incident kind of trumps that, no pun intended. I think that, you know, now's the time to just kind of step out of my comfort zone and do such a thing. And the reason being, I'm a human rights activist. I always have been. I'm exceptionally trained in it. I actually think I'm pretty good. You know, some of the human rights causes I've really gotten very passionate about. You know, I was very inspired by the Arab Spring. I was not involved, but like I definitely observed a lot and supported Occupy Wall Street. But the thing about Occupy Wall Street was like, the thing about it is like it was ruled by consensus, which is something I learned there. And it, you know, basically was anti-capitalist. It was like, look, there's a better way, and everyone's like, but what's your main point? And they're like, okay, here's our points. And then they're like, but it's not specific enough. Like, there will always be critics. Anyways, the reason why I'm doing this for Antonio Guterres is because, you know, I have been thinking for a while, you know, I'd love to put up a video just talking to the UN, right? Like, just addressing the UN, but I realized that, like, you know, the real person I want to talk to and learn from is Antonio Guterres. I just read, you know, about him online. I did a little bit of research, which I'm surprised is never really done before, but I did, and I was like, okay, his life makes sense. You know, like him being at the level, Antonio Guterres. Oh, for people who don't know, Antonio Guterres is the Secretary-General of the United Nations, which essentially means he's like kind of like king of the world. Not king, but like politically speaking, like Trump was never actually the most powerful dude in politics. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary-General, will always be, irrespective of jurisdiction, the most person, politically speaking, on the planet, right? Most people are like, I want to be president of the United States. Most people are like, I want to be prime minister of Canada. And sure, yeah, I got the hair to be prime minister of Canada. But like my eyes long term is actually on Antonio Guterres' position. And not because I want world domination. It's because I want world healing. Anyways, on that note, I was about to embark upon my walk onto this mountain. And I was thinking about global warming, as I was saying before. And I started thinking about I was like, oh no, I know what happened. I thought I saw a caterpillar, right? But I thought he was on his back, which I'd never seen before, right? I didn't see it. It wasn't a caterpillar. It was a stick. But I thought it was a caterpillar on his back with all of his legs up. So I'm like, oh shit, you know, caterpillar, like he needs assistance. So I walked past it, and I was like, nah, that wasn't it. So I turned back, I looked down, and I see there's just like something kind of like this, and a little bit furry, or like, you know, it was a little bit, I don't know. So anyways, I'm like, okay, it's a stick, it doesn't need assistance. You know, like, I can move on my way. If it had been a caterpillar on its back, I would have gone, bloop, and seen if it was alive, right? If it wasn't, I would have said a couple words and walked away. You know, rest in peace, homie. But after that, I was on that thought, and I was like, you know, he's a bug. Like, I hate killing bugs. I hate killing anything. You know, I've only killed bugs. Thank God. Knock on wood. Whew. I've only ever, you know, had to kill a bug before, and I don't really like to, but you know, it's a question of territory at that point. It's like, you've come into my home, you don't pay rent, and there's a chance you might bite me. See, I got bitten by something. There's a chance you might bite me in my home, so I can't allow that, you know, and you must go. I'm sorry, peace be with you. Say hello to God on the other side, you know, go with your other bug friends, right? But then I was like, well, you know, and then I was thinking this, I'm like, well, really, outside, nature is all their territory, right? Like, really, it's so long as you're outside of your home, you're actually in nature's home, right? Like, if we're being technical with it, right? Because technically the whole world, that's why I'm being technical with it. I'm just trying to give people some perspective, right? Maybe you've never thought like this before, maybe you have, and you feel supportive of this thought, right? But here was my thought process. I was like, you know, the entire world is nature. Everything is made in nature, even if it's man-made. Nature made it first. Like, sorry, but like, inspiration isn't really like, yeah, sure, we can be geniuses, we can be smart, we can be experts in our fields, But at the end of the day, that inspiration, whether you believe in it or not, you can call it something else. It can come from something totally different for you. We all have different perspectives and contexts, right? But when it comes to nature, it's everywhere. It's everything. So, when a man like Trump, the man who will not be named, I took a poll. They don't want to call him by his name. We want to Harry Potter him and pretend that he's that dude from Harry Potter. We can't say his name out loud. I want to give Harry Potter the scar. But anyways, he was literally like the manifestation of evil. I always knew that. It was a very weird time when I started my media career, because that's when it coincided with him announcing his campaign, right? For me, that was very troublesome. I've actually known of this man my entire life. I've seen his properties. I remember The Apprentice coming, and people really elected the dude who was known for firing people. That's what his famous line was, 2 words, "you fired." And people be like, this guy's a genius, let's put him into office. No, but it happened. We're not going to dwell on very gross spilt milk. Once you spill milk, you have to fucking clean it up, and that's what happened with the FBI raid, right? So anyways, to finish my caterpillar story, there's a dog there. To finish my caterpillar story, so I'm thinking about territory, I'm thinking about nature, and I'm like, well, if I have my own home, right, if I have my own domicile, if I have my own place to lay my head at night, and I have gone through periods of time where I didn't have anywhere to lay my head at night, or I had my home taken away from me, and I had to survive, in some, very not ideal circumstances. The thing is, global warming is kind of like the equivalent of robbing someone's home and then staying in it, shitting on their walls, throwing ketchup maybe at their walls, shitting all over the place, making a mess and making them watch. Because that's the thing, nature's everywhere, right? It's literally everywhere. If you're breathing oxygen, that's a part of nature. It's called air. That's one of the 4 elements. Anyways, so to António Guterres, the reason why this is directed at you, obviously I'm not solely talking to you, right? Because I understand, this isn't a video directed to you, because you understand this. I just read some very interesting things about you I did not know. You used to teach systems theory. That's brilliant. I was happy for the world when I learned that. He belongs in the position he's in, right? It makes sense why he's in the position he's in. He understands some things that are important for, organization of people. The thing is, though, Trump made no sense. The only grounds Trump would have made sense on is if he had taken the he can't even say he's an architect. I'm in real estate, right? Which is really just property for greed. Real estate's great. It's a great. I'm very interested in real estate myself, but when you say you're in real estate, that's more I'm in the sale of properties. I am into owning properties. I'm into stamping my name, pretending it's the Ritz-Carlton, but really it's a subpar social club that no one wants to go to in Palm Beach, Florida, that looks like Boca Raton and sells subpar pasta. So, a Caribbean food. Just an interesting twist. Anyways, so, Trump went into office and I was pissed. Children's rights is always my bottom line. Always. Always my bottom line. Not only have I always been this way. Oh, please don't come this way, dog. Not only have I always been this way. I'm not talking about a real dog. I'm talking about a human male. Okay, good. He's chosen the other path. So, as I was saying, Trump was a big mistake. And I'm not blaming the Republicans. For me, it's when somebody comes at me and is troll. That was pretty. Did I catch that on camera? That leaf just fell and was let me be in the show. Side note, there's glass everywhere here. Shame on you people who break bottles where animals live. What's wrong with you? You clean it up. I understand breaking a bottle in nature, but just leaving it for, an animal to get cut on their paw? They live here, dog. Show some respect. Anyways, as I was saying, the thing about nature and advocates like Peter Klamas and, people who care enough to do things as outlandish as chain themselves to Chase Bank because they're so bad for fossil fuels to send a message, right? Nature needs a representative. Animals need a representative. people need a representative, women need a representative, trans people need a representative, non-binary people need a representative, some men need representatives, minorities need representatives, black people need representatives, Palestinians need representatives, refugees need representatives, people with disabilities need representatives, and so on and so on. It's just that the things that are actually going on in life are way more sinister. And, I recently had a conversation, and I haven't cried once since that conversation, which I find is very interesting. I didn't cry once because I didn't really learn any new information in that conversation, but what did come from it was me recognizing what's going on, right? Things that are relevant to me. And, as disappointing as it might have been to even have to have had that conversation, I knew it was necessary. So I did. That conversation was followed up by another conversation. And a lot of shows of support at a time where it's nice to see, right? Like, I've been through some things that, I share with the public. But, as I was going through my list of, who needs advocacy, I was thinking in the back of my head as I'm listing all these people, human rights advocates also need advocacy. We need to advocate for ourselves. That's why a video where you might see me defending myself or defending myself against people who are doing bad things and I know about it, or a person, who is, let's say, a threat, or thinks they're a threat to me, or is trying to be a threat to me, or whatever. I'm trained in this. I literally am trained in this. Not only am I trained in this, but I've been this person. I have always stood up to bullies. Always. I have always stood up for myself when needed. There comes a time, I think, in every single person's life when they're like, all right, I'm going to be me. It makes sense with my age. I wish I had had these realizations earlier. We grow in life. We go through things and we grow. And, Pac said, I'm still talking to you, Antonio, but I'm also talking to the world, so please listen. I'll get more specific to you in a second. So, Pac said, Tupac Amaru Shakur, the late rapper, may he rest in peace, he made a lot of points, and I like to think about his points often because, he's not here, and a lot of people think music is his sole legacy, but it's really his mind. And I watched a lot of Tupac while I was completing my theory on the promotion of children's rights called the Child-Centric Framework, which you can find on Google. And Pac he just embodied what it meant to be him. Which is really all we really can do, right? All of us are, we really come to a point, oh, this guy is coming this way. Okay, maybe it's this route. Anyways, we all come to a point in life where we have to decide, am I going to walk forward and be myself, or am I going to continue on this path where I shield certain parts of me from the world so that I can make other people comfortable? But then you have to assess, okay, well, if that's the case, if something about me makes other people uncomfortable, what am I doing? What am I doing to make them uncomfortable? And when the realization is you're being yourself, you're advocating for others, and you're representing an image of justice that you always have, and you're literally honoring your inner child, there's no contest. There's just none. Literally none. I clearly can't be bought. If I could be bought, I would have sued my rapist. I clearly don't want clout, because if I wanted clout, I would definitely have told the full story about how I worked out with David Bowie twice and only realized on the second time it was David Bowie. I would, if I wasn't the person that I present myself to be and always have presented myself to be, I wouldn't be able to speak like this, because this is a process. Even recording this video is huge for me. Severin Suzuki, she silenced the world as a very young girl in the 90s in Rio at a UN, I think it was a General Assembly, I'm not sure. Anyway, you can find it on YouTube. She's doing brilliant things now, actually. But, she makes sense. You look at a woman like that, she makes sense. Her father's David Suzuki. You may be familiar with his name. You will probably very soon, hopefully, be very familiar with hers in the same manner. They both represent, the world, like in the sense of like nature and what's best for the world. And for me, my bottom line will always be children's rights. It's always children's rights. But if we don't have a planet for children to grow on, if we don't have a planet where children can be themselves and sustain themselves and build their lives, we're gonna implode, right? Like, there's a reason why Peter Calamus, a brilliant man, chained himself to Chase Bank knowing he would get arrested. He also knew there would be media present. So, he was willing to do that for a cause. I have had a similar life in certain respects, but, I never done something like to that extent necessarily. This video is simply, I wanted to share my thoughts with the world about, nature and defending nature, even small things. And, it really does, a lot of wisdom will tell you that, like, you want to start a revolution, start it within yourself, heal yourself, find peace, find inner peace. And then, you can distribute that, right, to others. And the thing about that is it's very true, but you also must still do the other work as well once you get to a certain place. I have literally spent my entire life being the person that you see before you right now. I'm getting to you, Antonio. I've literally been this person forever. Always. Literally forever. Oh, there's a ladybug on me. Sorry, ma'am. Please go. No, you bite. Sorry, bro. You gotta go. No. Well, that was unfortunate. Dude, where'd you go? Oh, man. You're on my... Look at this. Look at this motherfucker wants to be on camera. You see that? Didn't mean to give you a crotch shot. Okay, you gotta go, homie. Please fly elsewhere. Oh, my God. Ah! Well, this was really unfortunate. Hey, do your thing, homie. Maybe just wanted me to take off my pouch. Please don't come back on me. Go, fly. I'm still recording, right? Yeah. Please go. Oh, no. Where'd you go? Wow, you really flew away. Well, he listened, right? It's very interesting. Okay, that's my sign. Antonio, thank you for the things that you do. Because, the thing about the Mar-a-Lago thing, why so many of us we're at this point, I watch Rachel Maddow, I watch Chuck Todd, I watch, Lawrence O'Donnell, and I watch their brilliance as they talk about this issue. But there's something that no one's talking about. And it's not, maybe it's because they're American, and no disrespect on that. I don't mean any. I mean because of that, you're seeing it from your perspective. From my perspective as a Canadian, I'm like, Mar-a-Lago is an intelligence security breach of the highest magnitude. It's way worse than Watergate, actually, because that was just about domestic politics, right? He had invaded. He had robbed the Democratic headquarters, right? The campaign headquarters. That's what Nixon did. Nixon is way smarter and less dangerous than Trump. Why? Ring, ring, ring. On August 8th, 1974, Nixon announced to the world that the following day he was going to resign from the presidency. And then on August 9th, Clinton, sorry, homie. Nixon, right? He resigned. That was the right move to do for America. He literally said in his speech, like, I'm not the right person for the job. Clearly I'm not equipped to be the leader of the free world, right? I'm not equipped. This is not good for America. I'll go. I'm bowing out. Like, it's been real, right? And then he continued his career in politics and whatever. He's way less dangerous than Trump, because Trump is, what he's doing, he's not even worried. For some reason, this man is so dumb, he's not even worried about wherever he's going to end up, right? Because the bottom line is, he didn't only compromise just American security, he actually compromised global security. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, if I was an alien, right? I was literally like, if I was an alien, I'd invade now. And I'm not trying to give any UFOs, or other civilizations an idea if they're watching this. But what I am doing is addressing the UN Secretary-General of the United Nations, who I admire very much, who I am happy is in charge of that position, because that makes sense. And, I just really want for him to know that someone out here thinks he's doing a good job. Someone very educated on the subject matter thinks he's doing a very good job. And not only do I think you're doing a very good job, but I think you have a lot of work to do right now. I would imagine you've had some very interesting phone calls recently. I would imagine that, life is probably not simple at the moment, as mine is not. Whoa, another one. Yeah, enjoy, have a good day. I don't know why these men are stopping and looking at me. You can go in the fucking woods. Keep going. As I was saying, so yeah, António Guterres. First of all, you're from Portugal, which is like my favorite country to visit. You have great beaches, you have great food, great pastries, a lot of hills. I love Portugal with a burning passion. They do great things there. It's a really interesting country. It's a beautiful place to be. Nice people. You've lived a very interesting life, and I don't usually do this, and I'm not too much into zodiacs like I used to be. But you're a Taurus. I looked it up. Your birthday's April 30th. You have an interesting life description if you Google it quick, and it's like, I didn't look too deep into it, I probably won't, but it basically said that something about your destiny being decided at a really young age. I could relate to that. It also said something about, what was the last thing it said? Your destiny. It said something about I don't know if this is true, right? It's what Google said. Never had the privilege of actually sitting down with you, although I would love to one day. I said that something about your path might not have been decided fully by you. And I was like, that's interesting, because he's the UN Secretary-General. Oh no. Yeah, I forgot. I meant to make a comment about my nails. I know I wanted to do them, but I really wanted to hike more, so I was like, fuck it. This is kind of my status quo, because I'm an artist. I only do my nails maybe once a week when I'm into doing them, or once every week and a half. But yeah, I need to do them. So all the people, were like, her nails. Check out these nails now. How you like them nails? Anywho, to close this, because I do want to finish up my, day, and the rain is actually going to set in fairly soon. I was thinking about something horrific, Antonio. I was thinking about, everybody thinks Canada is this human rights haven, and unfortunately, based on the way human rights is kind of set up globally, it really is a relative situation. It's not, there is an absolute truth of what justice would look like, right? But Malcolm X was very aware of that absolute truth, right? Martin Luther King was very aware of that absolute truth. Mother Teresa, so many figures in the past. The thing is, though, when it comes to human rights, we really do have to look at it in a sense where it's relative, and so a lot of people outside of Canada, I've literally heard the term human rights haven a few times, and I, as someone who knows quite a bit about human rights, I do laugh, because I see it, I get it. We have great infrastructure. I can walk around in a crop top. I can. There's a lot of things I can do that other people cannot. I can get an education in this country. In Afghanistan, that is, women are fighting for their lives. But the thing is, the thing about Canada that I realize that's really devastating to me, and I'm sure the Indigenous community, which are actually who Canada, if we're being technical, if we're being really technical, Canada is their land. It was stolen from them, right? So, when you could literally be walking anywhere in Canada having a great time, and then you can literally stop and think to yourself, oh no, what if there's an Indigenous child buried under here? Or, oh no, what if there's 1,000 Indigenous children buried in this vicinity? And you wouldn't necessarily be faulted for having that thought process, and that's wrong. They're unmarked graves all over the place that we know about. We know of thousands of Indigenous children that were murdered, and never got to see their parents again. That's a lot of pain to cause a lot of people for no reason. And it's lives that should have never been taken. Justin, if Justin Trudeau sees this, Prime Minister, what's up? That's food for thought. You weren't Prime Minister then, obviously. You are Prime Minister now. I think that the wound is so deep for that community, and it's so justified that we really it cannot be ignored, and it shouldn't be. I think it's actually a very big mistake to ignore it. It's very bad karma. So, Mar-a-Lago is going on. Secretary-General António Guterres. Tony, I'm just kidding. I just did that for comedic effect solely. Hopefully you laughed. For me, I don't hide who I am. I realized very recently, and then had that confirmation very recently, that hiding who I am from the public is actually way more dangerous for me than showing you who I am. So I've started showing you who I am. I even put up a picture from childhood yesterday. I'm very proud of me. I've made a lot of very great changes. Someone recently asked me, I had told this person, like, things are different in the moment, and they're like, why? So I wrote, I wrote a list. It was a message like this long. And it was very, started with the kale smoothies, because it really did. And that's a message to anyone who's watching. I was going to tweet this, but I'm glad I'm actually recording this. If anyone's struggling with depression, literally, like, brushing your teeth or taking a shower, or, like, if your place is a mess, throwing out, like, 2 or 3 things, putting them away where they're supposed to be, that starts a domino effect. It's like when you start hearing yeses in life, wisdom says, like, all you need is that one yes, right? Why? Because it's a domino effect. You ever play dominoes? They just go. They all go. It's just yes, 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 yes after yes. No is a very normal part of life. It's also a very big trigger for men like Donald Trump. So, I just wanted to address to António Guterres, and I also wanted to show the world my thought process and thinking as to why right now it's a very sensitive time globally. I've spoken to a few of my friends about kind of like what's going on in like the world, and like I love their perspectives, like, because it's not about just bouncing my ideas off of them. It's about really listening to how they see the world. I have friends, many of my closest friends are not even, in this jurisdiction. But, the thing about perspective is everybody holds a different perspective based on who they are. Everybody's own healing journey is literally supposed to be designed based on who that person is, and we will all see things from different vantage points because we're all different people. We all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different geographies, we all come from different homes, some multiple. It broke my heart. And I could relate on certain levels, but it fully broke my heart because it's just so goddamn wrong. I saw on, was it Twitter? It was Twitter, I think. Yeah, this type of stuff shows up on Twitter. It's Twitter. There's a little young boy, an African American boy, with an African American woman, a younger woman, maybe around my age, and he's smiling ear to ear, but he's holding up a sign, and his sign says, basically, he just got adopted today, so he's super happy, right? I'm happy for him. That's the first thing I see. He got adopted today. He's found his forever home. He's been in 23 homes. 23. In about, I think it was 5.5 years. I could be wrong. But everything about that is wrong, right? Like, the only thing that's right about that is the woman standing next to him, smiling, his smile, and the fact that he found his forever home. Children deserve a lot better. Oh my God, is that a squirrel? Oh my God, I have no idea. Oh, it was a squirrel eating something, and it looked like a fucking animal that I'd never seen before in my life. That was like, it was looking right at me on the trail. Bro, he looked like a skinny raccoon. He was a big squirrel, which if he was that way, I'm gonna go that way. Anyways, he was a big squirrel. That was frightening. I love squirrels too. I love animals. So yeah, to close this up, because I really do want to go do my thing. There he is. I could have turned it, but he just ran away. Yes, I'll go that way. That was so funny. He's still holding it. Good for him. He found something. Proud of ya, homie. So yeah, to close, I am done hiding who I am. from the world. I am done not speaking on the things I know about. I am done not doing the things I am passionate about. I have already finished doing, like, I'm well on that path, you know. I'm just done not being me. Completely done. It's just not, it's not going to happen. I refuse to put myself into a box that someone else has designed for me, because who in their right minds thinks to themselves, this person isn't how I want for them to be. You can't control any other person outside of you. You should not manipulate anyone outside of you, although people do. Case in point, Trump with the Republican base right now. Can't wait for those people to wake up, because a lot of Republicans have money. Sometimes there's a correlation often, not always, but there's a correlation often with wealth and intelligence, right, in this world. Okay. But, you know, a lot of Republicans, because of their wealth, they're like, oh, we're going to vote with our pocketbook. And it's always been that way, and I've always known that conservatives tend to vote for money. They want to protect their money, right? The thing about it is it devastates human rights. It's literally at the expense of human rights. So, like, you know, I would pay attention to what Biden's saying. I would pay attention to what the Democrats are saying, the AOCs of the world, the Bernie Sanders, the Cardi B's. I really hope she goes into politics one day. Please go into politics, Cardi. It would just do it at the same time as me whenever that happens in life. Like, just be so fun. But yeah, like, I just want to see change. I've seen it in myself these past 6 months. I'm closing. These past 6 months, Antonio, I have made incredible strides. I put my health first in every decision. I put my happiness first in every decision. And I've really put where my heart sits first in every decision. I hope that one day I will be invited back to the United Nations. I hope that, you know, one day I can sit down with you. I would love to be your assistant, as your special assistant. That would be the coolest name ever. But even if that doesn't happen, I just think, you know, the Mar-a-Lago move was inspired. It inspired music out of me. I'm working on the craziest beat right now. You know, it inspired me so much, and it's really brought me out of my shell to the extent where it's making others uncomfortable. And that's actually a sign that is a good sign. It's a sign that I should continue, because I haven't been comfortable. Who would be comfortable with a lot of the circumstances I deal with? In a world like this, don't you think it would be easier if my books were selfies, like Kim Kardashian selfish? You know, I'm not dissing Kim with that. I'm just making a point, because Kim actually does a lot of great things for a lot of people in a lot of bad situations, right? Obviously, there's a list of things about Kim that I could say, like, if I had the opportunity to speak to her in private, I'd be like, okay, maybe those weren't great business decisions, and moving forward, you can do X, Y, and Z, because you're obviously, your mind is obviously wired in a certain way, because doing anything even close to what I'm doing right now puts yourself at risk. The thing is, not being me puts myself at greater risk. That puts me at risk of depression. Not being me publicly puts me at risk as well, because it gives you a misconception of who I am. And, you know, I'm going to end on that. So thank you if you listened. I'm going to watch this later once I get home. You know, at the end of the day, I'm simply about healing for this planet. You know, less pieces of glass, wherever that glass is, right there, huge piece of glass. You know, less pieces of glass in forests, you know, more squirrels finding whatever they want and freaking you out in a forest. You know, less men lingering around you alone in a forest, like, and really nice interactions with the ladybug. You know, it was an interesting moment. So thank you for watching. I'm glad I recorded this. I almost didn't, but I got a pull here, and I was like, fine. So this is for the trees. The trees. Oh, I brought chocolate. Oh my God. Yo. Okay. Side note. Has anyone? Okay, if you watch Made in Chelsea, right? Do you watch Made in Chelsea? Yes. Well, most of us. Okay, some people don't. There's a scene where, an episode where Jamie Lang goes to a, like, psychic or, like, I don't know, someone, and that psychic tells him to feed a tree chocolate, and you'll forever be connected to this tree, because apparently trees love chocolate. So Sophie Herman, like, the funniest, most baddest, like, woman, she, like, very beautiful. Like, very, she's just, like, inside and out. Very confident. Like, she's just nice. Anyways, my earpods are about to fall out. She's gave Jamie the chocolate. He's like, give me the chocolate. And then she's like, well, it's only 85% cacao. This is actually 85% cacao, too. It's Lindt chocolate. Okay, so I have to take a bite, and then I have to rub it on the tree. Okay, you're watching? What am I going to name you? Tree of awesomeness. Be awesome, sir. Very good. All right, I'll give you, I don't even want to try. Okay. Try chocolate with the tree. Everyone do this. It connects you in the, like, astral field, according to this lady. And apparently, even though the show's pretty scripted, I don't think that scene was, because Verity made quite a bit of fun of Jamie for actually doing it. Anyways. Love you, dog. I'll hug it, too. Hi, tree of awesomeness. Yay, enjoy the chocolate, dog. Okay, that's enough. All right, enjoy it. Stand strong, stand tall. Let's protect the world. All right, this is Arielle saying peace out. Antonio, send me an email or tweet me. Peace. Love to the world. Bye.